H. Herbert's 100 harem. The sound of his alarm got him moving. But more than moving or the alarm, it's when he pulls in Axiom to wake up that it truly starts to disturb his wives. It's okay. Back to sleep. He bids them as he slips to the far side of the room as he answers the communicator. What's going on? Civvies present. Catch of the day has bite marks on it. I see. Do we recognize the pattern? Or are the dentists which is still debating? It's going to take a little longer. Which catch was this? The piranha, snapper, barracuda, or are we getting a shark? He asked, trying to see if they got something random, something juicy, something dangerous, or something really dangerous. Barracuda, but the teeth marks suggest a shark is nearby. Could just be an enthusiastic snapper, though. And there's always the risk of piranha or another barracuda, or if we're lucky, a snapper. We eating off a platter or a stick? Plastic platter, he says, signifying aslam on one of the plates. Got it. Is the meal hot enough to eat through the plate? Does it need mastication? He asks and glances over to see some of his brides shifting as the strange word is used, and then settling as they remember it means to chew. Code is so damn useful. He flashes them a grin, and the girls sigh a little, and there are some grins. He then steps out of the room entirely and into the hallway. Still not in the clear, but clearer. All right, out of casual earshot, still home, he says, and there's a cough. Your tagged fish swam to some friends. She has a lot of them. Some are looking tasty, but we think there may be fin soup on the horizon, and there's a hint of something familiar. But it could be a case of mistaken identity. After all, lots of shark wind up missing a couple of teeth, and in an ocean as vast as Centris. It can always be coincidence. Got it, Herbert answers. Fishing with beers? Fly fishing, casting a net or deep sea, i.e. standard procedure, delicate operation, overt operation, or focused operation. Just beers for now. Understood, he says. You're not calling to tell me all's well and things are progressing as normal. Spill it. I won the bet, the man on the other side says, and Herbert curses. Them winning a bet and a grin in their voice is always a bad sign. Mr. Hazard. Excuse me? It's being juggled around if your cute routine should be classified as a cognito hazard, as you seem to have turned several normal women into pedophiles. I'm calling hard bullshit on that. I was going over the top, but not to that level. Herbert retorts. I don't know. That riot you left behind when you were unsafe lasted nearly an hour before the police broke it up. A few of them were shown pictures of you and the rioters were let go with a warning. So your mimetic cuteness can transfer through images, you naughty whittle boy. Then you better watch yourself because this is a woman's galaxy. And if I can steal their hearts and minds, then I can have them tear yours from its moorings. The heart or the mind? You know which I mean. My mind, I suppose having a mind-blowing train pulled on me is one way to go. You know what I mean. I do, but let's pretend I don't. You are aware that I'm working on a way to strangle someone through a communicator, right? Herbert asks. I am now, but working on implies you can't so far. So ha. Agent Marlin, but for fear of your little kitty fingers finding their way around my throat, I will back off. Just be ready. We're getting a lot, and it can happen at any time. I was ready when you called, Marlin. If that's all this is really about, then I'm just going back to bed. An exhausted soldier is an ineffective one. Just have your gun close. I sleep on top of it. Small size means I can sleep on my stomach with my hands under my pillow, around the grip of a pistol. Dude, how paranoid are you? Some days I fear not nearly enough, Herbert replies. I hate how much sense that answer makes. Love you too, good night, asshole, Herbert states before hanging up. He gives the communicator a little flip as he considers. Varthi is no innocent, but the fact that even with her body being tagged, her clothing and bags being tagged, and her communicator's frequency monitored, they only had a maybe, and right after a mission gone wrong, she was clearly being kept at arm's length or has a professional policy of distancing herself from her customers. Either way, it's smart. But who's being smart? Or perhaps both are. Smart enemies suck. No easy way to pull them apart. He notes before he senses a tiny amount of movement as one of the Paris comes up to him. He helps the little thing up, and it starts making its distinctive purring sound as he gives it a few gentle rubs. The light blue and orange crustacean cuddles close as he thinks. He then nods and pockets the communicator again. Time for more sleep. Sir, you have something in your hair. It's product. My wives adore it, and it blends well enough with my natural hair color to my eyes. But to them, it looks amazing, he says. And what does it look like? It looks like I have a glittering halo. Apparently this stuff refracts ultraviolet light to a high degree, Herbert says as he rolls his neck. All right, it's been 5.5 hours since my last update. I know Marlin's off shift and likely sawing logs. So where's my... Thank you. He opens the folder he was handed as he walks to his office and opens the door. Think carefully on where a cross punch from me will go. His fellow agent steps out of the shadows without trying anything, and he greets the bearded Mara. Haddock! Sir, things are progressing oddly, Haddock tells him. I can see that. So our new friend has a connection to the Darnaxian concurrence, or at least hangs out in those areas. Could have been a dead drop, could have been litter she picked up. Hard to tell, Herbert notes as he sits at his desk. All right, I'm sitting and braced. What's so bad you need to tell me in person? We fully identified the metal. It's sending alarms through the system of every allied government organization we've shared it with. So it is some kind of blood metal? It's not just that, sir. It's that the metal is ridiculously hard to make, cannot be mass-produced, and basically works like Kutho on steroids. And the reason we haven't run into it before is because the refining process takes such a huge loss of life that Kutho is just better. Basically, it's also insanely illegal to even possess. If you can't justify why you have it, then possession of a piece as small as a coin can get you executed, even in states where execution is not in the standard books. That bad? If you kill person and make some, you get maybe 5 milligrams of the metal, Haddock says, and Herbert sucks in a sharp breath past his teeth. The fact that so much was found, that corridor was a monument to genocide. But why? I don't know, clone blood doesn't work. Chemically crafted or enhanced blood doesn't work. Both of them get close-ish, and if you mix in maybe 1 part per 1,000 of the authentic blood metal with its false brother, you get a closer alloy. But the samples we got are pure, meaning that they came out of a person, something to do with being part of a living soul that does it? Yes, sir, this can easily become a casus belli if mishandled. Then we won't mishandle it. We inform everyone we are required to and bring them in fully to our investigations. We get ambassadors to the Admiral and Allied agents in here as well. This isn't some schlocky war film that needs to justify high drama based on a time period of a real-life Cold War. We are not their enemies. We are not opposed to them, and they are not to us. We have different ways of operating, but we are on the same side. Everything? Everything within reason. Us working to declaw criminal organizations and calm down potential points of chaos will have sparse details in order to maintain proper operations. But otherwise, we're going to work with them openly. And if they press for details, explain why that's a bad idea and insist on non-disclosure agreements. We have a legal division for a reason, and as much fun as they're having with the trial of Juliet Comet, they might appreciate the change of pace, Herbert says. Basilash is really earning her nickname as the Tritite Lady. She's putting Comet's life under an atomic microscope and citing the laws relevant at that point in time, and the laws of the spires she's above as well, to make sure that any argument from any angle is considered. Yeah, I'm shocked most criminal organizations haven't spontaneously combusted with her in the system, Herbert says in an amused tone. This is going to get weird. We're going to have to be open, but discreet at the same time. Knowledge that something like this had been done will set off a panic, a nasty one. But if we're found covering up any part of this, then men or not, the sky is falling on us with perhaps the literal wrath of God, perhaps even multiple gods. Falling on you, if that happens, I'm throwing your ass under the bus and booking it like my ass caught fire. Fair enough. Not everyone can cute away the wrath of the righteous. The cute kid routine is not the answer to all life problems, Haddock says in an amused tone. Then perhaps it should stop being the proper answer to so many problems, Herbert states before looking at Haddock sharply. Soldier? The tight tone makes Haddock straighten up. Things may run fairly casual to keep the stress down, but when that tone is used, is this verbal report serious? My next step is to call the lab and confirm, and if I find you are joking about something this potentially dangerous. I am not, sir. I wish I was. I wish I could hit you with a pie and run away until I'm pinned down for a court-martial. But I can't. This is a kind of metal where you need to kill 10 people to make a fucking knockoff tritite coin out of it. This sort of shit only shows up in horror novels, the ones that never make it to the holoscreen because they're too fucking graphic. Best case scenario, the Darnaxian concurrents bumbled their way into finding a method to refine it en masse by complete fucking accident. But even that is horrifying because while blood metal is poorly understood due to how thankfully rare it is, everything we know about it is an increasing nightmare. It does weird things embedded in a person's body and can be used to trigger the really nasty axiom effects. The kind of things you only imagine after taking the hard stuff and going to sleep with a splatterfest horror movie on. I see, Herbert says to himself as he considers. Excuse me. I need to talk to a lot of people and see if I can't get our researchers to find some method to detect this stuff. Creating or refining something like that will be a kiss on the lips to the people that want to help us. So, Herbert notes as he scans the immediate area, the response to all his calls and trying to straighten this potential cluster fuck out, he was now on a team, each of them under orders to work together and find the source of the blood metal. Simple as that. The personal assistant of the tritite lady was ostensibly in charge and giving him the stink eye. Something about him is bothering Jalasi, and the Nagasha is giving him a stern look and is clearly the eyes of the literal goddess of justice on this case. Good evening, ladies. All of you are here because we have a situation that we need to keep a lid on to prevent a panic. But working in secret will merely get suspicion and rage thrown about. So in summation, I have encountered the object of our attention for this combined investigation. It occurred during my investigations of the Darnaxian concurrents, who are active on Spire Amaru, as well as the plates Glavori and Meliti. Long story short, the Undaunted through me encountered an unusual metal that was used in their constructions that we have confirmed to be pure blood metal. He says, and there is a wave of discomfort, muttered, swearing in multiple languages and very upset expressions. Yes, so this isn't something we've encountered before, but from how difficult the damn stuff is to create, I hope I can be forgiven for my ignorance. Herberty notes. Now then, if you will all direct your attention to the bundles of folders on the table, there is all the information related to the Darnaxian concurrence we have, as well as every case or mission that has even tangentially touched it. Children are involved? Jalasi asks in horror. Children accidentally intercepted a weapon drop that a criminal tried to cover up, and then a professional assassin who occasionally does work for the Darnaxian concurrence was found in the station she was arrested at. I consider that enough of a connection, Herbert says, and there are looks of consideration. Subtracting myself as a commonality because I lead to the Undaunted, and that leads into everything we're doing. But otherwise, everything we know is in those documents. These are fairly thick and expansive. People are at the front as is appropriate. Shrunken munition launchers? One person asks. Shrink guns? Another asks. There are several names for such, but we found one in the hand of the Darnaxian concurrence. I took a bad shot from it as it was mentally linked and not a standard fire weapon. So I dodged at the wrong time. It's why I look even more illegal than normal. Could you not joke about such, please? Jalasi asks. Sorry,